And now from the United States, we move to Africa, where in Senegal, protesters are keeping up the pressure on President Macky Sall. They want the country to hold elections as soon as possible. And this comes a day after the country's top court blocked the president's decree on postponement of elections. Hundreds lined the streets of the capital city, Dakar, chanting against the president, calling him a dictator. There were also protesters demanding the release of opposition leaders from jails. Our next report gets you all the latest from Senegal.
After nearly 2 weeks of political uncertainty, Senegal seems to be getting back on the path to stability. The country's top court, the Constitutional Council, blocked President Macky Sall's bid to postpone elections from the 25th of February to mid-December. The council called the president's move unconstitutional. The Senegalese president said he would fully abide by the court's decision and pledged to hold elections as soon as possible. Macky Sall has been under significant pressure to accept the ruling, and protesters across Senegal vowed to keep it on until fresh elections are announced. Hundreds of protesters marched and biked through the streets in Senegal's capital, Dakar. Calling the president a dictator, the protesters called out Macky Sall's authoritarianism. They carried flags and banners with messages such as "election by force." The protesters do not want Macky Sall's term to be extended beyond the 2nd of April.
This is to say no to the postponement of the elections, because Macky Sall was democratically elected in this country. We chose him to lead this country and his term has ended. He should leave in peace, because we don't want the country to always be in chaos.
It's not just words. Macky Sall needs to take action now in the direction of organizing elections before 2nd of April, which is the deadline. Beyond that, he is no longer president of Senegal.
Protesting is the only way to exert healthy pressure on the government. When the people express themselves like this, we avoid certain extremes of violence or a coup. We must let the people express themselves. That's what it's for.
Meanwhile, there were also protests demanding the release of the opposition presidential candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye and jailed opposition PASTEF party leader Ousmane Sonko. Faye has been under preventive detention since April last year. Sonko has been in prison since July 2023 for calling for an uprising, associating with criminals linked to terrorism and harming state security. The Constitutional Court rejected Sonko's candidacy but accepted that of Faye. In West Africa, where 4 countries are currently under military rule, Senegal is seen as a stable democracy. The country, however, plunged into deep political crisis after President Macky Sall pushed elections. Senegal witnessed its worst crisis in decades with deadly protests and internet cuts. Macky Sall, who came to power in 2012, has said he is not running for a 3rd term. Constitutionally, he is not allowed to run after completing 2 terms. Though the country's top court has overturned his decree on postponing elections, it is unclear when a date for the next election will be set and whether there would be changes to who is allowed to contest.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.